Hello, welcome again to Sign On. I'm Tessa Padden. The theme of this series is the Deaf Nation. So what's all this got to do with the Deaf Nation? Well, here at the Turtle Quay Arts Centre in Fulham, 4 young deaf artists are building a bridge. It's a bridge between two worlds, a bridge full of ideas, feeling and imagination. In short, it's an artistic bridge.
Well, really our aim is to show 2 historical worlds. There's the disabled world, and on the other hand there's the hearing world. The hearing world is always perfect, but in the disabled world there are problems of access. You have to fight. We want the 2 sides to come together in one world. Our struggles for access and our suffering are unknown to the hearing world. They've no awareness of it. They try and sweep it under the carpet. So we've made that side rough and uneven, but with strong emotional colours like yellow and red trying to break through. The hearing side is dark, it's asleep, just slowly waking up and becoming more aware of disability issues. Then we can work together to create one world.
Well, the bridge itself contains a strong statement about deafness. It's an embodiment of deaf art, and it sends out a really powerful message.
While the artists are painting their bridge, we're going to be looking a little more deeply at the place of art and poetry and just a bit of a sense of humour in the life of the nation, as we've shown in some of our programmes over the years.
I have 3 cultures. One is Arabic culture, one is deaf culture, and there's also a European culture. The Arabic culture is very glamorous and rich and uses bright colours. The deaf culture is very lively, very exciting and wild. The third one, the European culture, uses very plain colours, very natural and simple, very subdued, so there's a great variety. Deaf people do have very creative minds because they use their eyes much more. I think they're very expressive and their very strong feelings come out through their work. Hearing people are very different. They make a lot more use of their imagination. They use their ears along with their minds much more. But for deaf people using their eyes, everything has a visual focus. They're very creative with their hands, and together with their imagination and emotions, this comes out in their work.
Within my art, there's a kind of mystical feeling, a spiritual sort of communication. Through my own personal experiences, I relate strongly to buildings, like a convent or an abbey. There's a spiritual aura about these places which I can really home in on and then portray in my work. For example, in this picture with the lone building, there's a feeling of real peace. I really feel that emanating from it. Likewise with some of my other work. I think windows have influenced me from my school days when I was taught by nuns. I would be outside signing. Remember, it was an oral school. I was always aware that the nuns could be behind the windows watching us sign, which we weren't allowed to do. That had a great impact on me. Even when I go out for a walk, I look at the windows in the buildings all around. They just seem to have this psychological effect on me. It's a very visual thing, and perhaps because I'm deaf, the buildings have more of a visual impact.
The colours I use are very important to me because they're bright. Many people who see them find them stunning, stimulating to look at. They represent how we communicate with sign language and movement. It's the movement of deaf art. They've seen paintings before, but they've never showed sign language. They were boring, it made them mad and fed up, and they felt they were being discriminated against. But now, at last, there are paintings with sign language, and they feel that art is important for them, being deaf. They can draw from it. It furthers their language, it tells their stories, it celebrates them, it conveys their joy and movement. It communicates with hearing people as well as deaf people. We can integrate and come together through our art, and that's good. This painting is a deaf woman with sign language. It's a face that's bright with wide eyes. It's strong. It makes a tremendous impact. It's full of power. I want it to communicate her language, sign. It's not just moving lips. It's something that comes from deep inside. It expresses itself through movement. It's very strong, it's beautiful, it's bright. It's sign language.
Here at the Turtle Key Arts Centre, the work of our 4 young artists is taking shape. After the break, we'll look at the work of some deaf people who express themselves in a different kind of way, in BSL poetry and storytelling. In the hearing world, you don't necessarily have to be good with your hands to be a writer or a poet. But if you want to express yourself in British Sign Language poetry, you've got to be good with your hands. That's what the language is all about. An important function of poetry in any language is to help us see things differently, to see connections between things, often by the use of metaphors. A simple example of a metaphor is the English phrase butterflies in the tummy, to describe how we sometimes feel all of a flutter inside. Sometimes metaphors can be humorous, but at the same time contain a serious message, as in this poem by Paul Scott.
Hey, did you know that the weather is actually deaf? Well, see this grey cloud here? Oh, it's pouring down. What are you called? Me, I'm called the rain. I'll give you the sign language name, lashes of water from above, heavy lashes, so I'll know you. Oh, what's that? What are you called? Me, I'm called lightning. Oh, okay. I'll give you the sign name Zigzag of Light and Thunder. I like that. The rain and thunder and lightning go on until the rain disperses and the clouds evaporate. But what's this? Oh, what is your name? I am the fog. I am come to cloud your vision. Then I'll give you this sign name. Gradually the mists thin and lift. But what's this? What are you known as? I am called the sun. Ow! You are called the sun? That's right, because of my blazing rays. Did you know that watches are deaf? They have 2 hands, and you never hear their voices, ever. They sign. 3 o'clock. 9 o'clock. 12 o'clock. 6 o'clock. After 24, 48, 72 hours, they're still signing. Hearing people understand them, yet they've no voice. They're deaf. The weather is deaf. My watch is deaf. They're my best friends.
Poets often look to the non-human world for connections with their own experience. Maybe because sometimes the human world can be so harsh. In one poem, John Wilson made a profound connection between the threatened extinction of the whale and the attempts to suppress sign language. He called it From the Depths.
I came across a ship in a bottle, her 3 masts proud, laced with sails. The plaque beneath read whaler. Her trade was killing whales. Milan, 1880. Milan. Every deaf person is taught to remember. The sea's high, the sails full blown. A sailor mounts the crow's nest. He sees the spray. There she blows! All hands on deck. Man the rowboats. A graceful tail slices the waves. Pull! 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 We're gaining on her. The harpoon's in hand. He sights the target and launches. Smack! Deaf children happily signing. Then, yes, you, out to the front. The cane is flexed, a tiny hand outstretched, and smack! Hold her steady. I'll hit home this time. Stung! The whale dives, pushing deeper and deeper through the dark, but he's forced back up, breathless and choking. The whale breaks the surface, its tail slapping, splashing, splashing. Then silent, the ocean clouds red. Whack, whack, whack. 3 red stripes. Blood on your hands. 1980. Save the whale! People take to the streets, shouting their protest. The doors of the deaf schools are closing. Deaf people take to the streets, shouting their protest. Why? They're killing our language. Why? They're killing our whales. Stop! The BSL dictionary gives us our language to learn, to teach, to make the children happy. Hey, hey, over here. Flash. The flashbulbs explode in waves of light as the mighty head bursts majestic from the depths. A graceful tail slices the waves and disappears beneath, and all is calm.
And now a poem by Philip Green on the very traumatic subject of AIDS.
The white sheet, the shining floor, day after day, night after night, lying here, waiting for the pain to come, for the pain to go. The doctor comes, pretends to see, talks and talks with his glasses, without his pride. The nurse, with her warm smile, finds it hard to communicate. I can't trust them. I can't understand. And the KS blotches my skin, and the CMV blurs my vision, and the PCP blocks my breathing. So many things I'm suffering, waiting for the end. Walking in the street, people turn to stare. They know, they don't know. My fear, my patience. Their eyes turn on me. They know, they don't know. My fear, my patience. Their eyes turning on me. A suspicious glance, a grin. Has he got it or not? Feeling trapped, feeling frightened, feeling hurt, crying. And the KS blotches my skin, and the CMV blurs my vision, and the PCP blocks my breathing. So many things I'm suffering, waiting for the end. in the bed, sweating, growing thinner and thinner. The liquid that's fed to my veins gnaws at my hollow innards, then releases my mind. My heart beats slower, confusion, paranoia. I suppress the scream and cry. I'm ready to die. No pain, no fear, no tears, no anger, just flying through stars, feeling free, feeling happy. And the KS blotches my skin, and the CMV blurs my vision, and the PCP blocks my breathing. So many things I'm suffering, waiting for the end. No regrets.
Philip Green, who himself died not long after recording that poem for Sign On. As soon as they finish, these artists will have to take their bridge apart again, so that they can rebuild it elsewhere. Which is a bit like the story of art, really, constantly trying to renew itself. And maybe a bit like the story of the deaf nation, trying to rebuild itself after a lot of hard knocks. Next week, we look at another art form which every nation needs: theatre and acting. Join us then.